Hey guys, good morning. I hope you're all well and that you really enjoy today's event. So, this morning I wanted to briefly touch upon emotional resilience, something that's very poignant right now with this year. Um, this year has been a huge reminder of how intrinsically connected we all are. There's not one person in this whole world that has not been affected this year by this pandemic. And the world has dramatically changed. There's been a shift in a lot of ways. Whether it's loss, grief, financial strain, the racial inequality movement, workplace challenges, lockdown anxiety. This pandemic has brought a lot of societal issues to the fore, and we've had to dig deep. We've had to reflect upon how we treat the planet, how we eat, how we treat animals, how we treat ourselves and others. We've had to muster as much emotional resilience as possible. So, I wanted to look at the characteristics of emotionally resilient people and see if you can identify with any of these characteristics in yourself. So, emotionally resilient people tend to feel generally quite good about themselves and the world around them, mostly feeling in control of their lives. And they tend to be persistent and determined and optimistic. And they value the importance of gratitude, the importance of counting the blessings and taking stock of how lucky we are and the great things that are going on in our lives. They practice acceptance. The first of the Four Noble Truths in the Buddhist faith is life is suffering. And that sounds pretty depressing, but actually, there's a lot of peace that you can gain from accepting the fact that challenges will come your way. And it's not just you, challenges will come for everybody, regardless. And when you can accept that, it almost makes it a little bit easier to bear when going through these things. Pain is painful, stress is stressful, but healing takes time. And when you can accept that pain and stress is all part of the ebb and flow of life, it makes things just that little bit easier. How can we build on our emotional resilience levels? Well, there's different ways. Firstly, there's no better way to know your own mind than to give it that attention. So checking in mentally, taking that time for self-awareness is very strengthening for your resilience. How am I doing? How am I feeling? Am I lost in my head? Am I in my head a lot? How are my stress levels doing? Exercise. Exercise is the most transformative thing we can do for our brain. It strengthens the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, these two areas of the brain that are linked to Alzheimer's and dementia. When you're disciplined with your body, you're disciplined with your mind. We know the body-mind connection. When you get yourself onto that workout on YouTube or to the gym or whatever that exercise is, you're immediately strengthening your body, which then immediately in turn strengthens your mind. You're not only increasing the endorphins and serotonin and that feel-good chemical in the brain, but you're increasing the ability to be disciplined with your thoughts. So, positive routines, another one. There's things that we all enjoy doing, whether it be yoga, playing golf, reading, painting, music. Getting these positive routines that are fruitful can really build resilience. Now, focusing on healthy relationships is another one. Don't lose your energy on things that are not helpful or people that are not positive in your life. Think about the people and the energies that are around you and ask yourself, is it helpful or harmful? Spend your energy wisely. We all do it. Something might not be going right in our lives, or someone has annoyed us, and we may want to go over this and run over it in our mind or run over it verbally with our friends. Maybe spend the time doing something a little bit more fruitful, a little bit more strengthening, rather than wasting energy, increasing stress hormones on going over the past. So the last one, keep the joy. Find the joy in the small things, in the bigger things. Have fun. Make sure you are giving some time to laugh, to smile. Things in the world have been very heavy, to say the least, this year. None of us were prepared for this. But just keep the joy in your heart. Just give yourself that time. Put on that old school tune and dance around. Play a silly game. Whatever it is, watch some comedy. But keep that joy in your heart. Find the joy. Now, I'd like to invite you to practice a meditation with me, because living a more mindful life, or practicing mindfulness, or understanding the principle of mindfulness, can really help you with resilience. When you sit and take that time to sit and breathe and meditate, every time the mind wanders off and you bring it back to your anchor, to your breath, you're building a more resilient mind. You're strengthening that control, to be the ability to be in control of your thinking. And when it hits the fan and times are hard, we need to have that control over our mind to be more effective in every day, to make sure we get good sleep. So meditation and mindfulness really builds resilience, and mindfulness helps us to have a more of a positive, more balanced perspective and mindset. So when you internally check in, you're not just cultivating self-worth and self-confidence and self-care, but you're also just strengthening your resilience levels. I'd like to invite you now to have a few minutes to do a meditation together. And if you have your feet flat on the floor and you're sitting nice and tall with a straight back, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes. And just simply begin by taking a moment to just fully exhale. Take a deeper in-breath and then just fully exhale, and just take a moment. Just release any tension. And then I would like you to inhale for 3 breaths and just tense your feet and your legs. Inhaling 1, tensing your feet and your legs. 2, inhale 3, and then exhale, release. And then I want you to tense your feet, your legs, and your arms and your hands for 1, 2, 3, and then just release. And just bringing the awareness to any physical sensations with your breath. Maybe noticing the corners of your breath as you breathe in, and then the warmth of the breath as you breathe out. And just noticing how, when we connect to our breath and we use the breath as our anchor, it helps us to maintain presence. It helps us to re-establish ourselves back in the present moment. And using it as an anchor, it's just like an anchor for a boat on a river, if you like. You know, we're constantly getting washed downstream by thoughts, by emotions and feelings. And it's natural, that's just how the mind works. But when you use the breath, you bring yourself back. You simply reconnect to your breath as your anchor, and you find yourself back in the here and now, in the present moment. Just trying that for a moment, noticing any thoughts. And each time we wander and we come back, each time we're washed downstream and we bring ourselves back to the anchor, remember that we don't need to force it. We don't need to have any judgment. We just need to recognize and then escort the mind back. And every time we reawaken in that present moment, we are building and building upon our emotional resilience. And at times we can get washed away and we can spiral into thoughts and sometimes negative thought processes, negative neural pathways. And it can be overbearing and it can be unnerving. But reconnecting each time helps us to remember that we can tap in to the wisdom, to the patience, and find some balance within ourselves. Inhaling and exhaling. And by using this mindful breathing, it helps us to notice, to be aware of the thoughts and emotions as the observer, rather than being at the mercy of them or governed by them, identifying too much to them, attaching too much, but just watching and accepting. And I'll just invite you now to take a deeper breath from the diaphragm. Really inhale and fill the lungs. And as you exhale, I want you to take a moment to feel a sense of pride and self-gratitude, knowing that you're doing really well. And however this year has affected you, you've kept going and you've grown and you've shown resilience. And you can keep building on your resilience through self-care, just knowing that gradually things will become a little easier and a little bit more normal. And just before we wrap this up, I'm just going to repeat some mantras. I have more inner strength and wisdom than I think. I have more inner strength and wisdom than I think. I believe in my ability to navigate my way through tough times and survive them. I believe in my ability to navigate my way through tough times and survive them. I am resilient. I am resilient. Taking a slightly deeper breath and exhaling. And when you're ready, slowly opening the eyes. And just wiggling the fingers. Take a little shoulder roll, take a little neck stretch. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you get lots out of the day ahead and keep that emotional resilience going and be very proud of yourselves. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me.